Hey there, my name is Ian. Now you might be asking yourself this question, which is better, real estate or stocks? Now this is an age-old question and we're going to take a look at this today. Alright, welcome! So this is part of a two-part series. We're going to be looking at the difference between real estate and stocks and comparing them. So you've probably heard from a lot of investors that real estate and stocks are very good investments. And are they right? Let's take a look. So you can see that, hey, if you went for stocks, if you went for real estate, either way, you actually win, okay? But the question always is, which is better? So we're going to take a look that there are actually some differences between real estate and stocks. So for stocks, the pros is that it actually requires a very low capital outlay and it's more liquid. But the cons is that stocks can actually go to $0 and you need to have very strong emotional control because of this liquidity, and you can be actually forced to sell in certain situations, for example, privatization. So real estate, the pros is that there's price durability, all right, which means because it's brick and mortar, the value for it to go to zero is quite unlikely. The pros about real estate is also that it's actual usability. Stocks, you cannot actually use the stocks for any purpose, all right? But real estate, you can actually stay in the real estate, or if you own a shop front, you can actually use for a shop, for example. And you can actually leverage when it comes to real estate. However, the cons is that real estate requires a very high capital outlay, it's less liquid, and there are limitations to ownership as well. So are we going through certain key factors here? So the first thing is actually the power of leverage, and we're going to compare between stocks and real estate. So you can see that stocks, usually people when they buy stocks, they don't leverage, but real estate when you buy, you can usually go to the bank and leverage. So imagine you have $1 million and you're comparing between buying stocks and real estate. For stocks, if you bought $1 million worth of a stock, your initial investment was $1 million. If after 3 years, the stock price increases by 10%, the stock price becomes $1.1 million and you make a profit of $100,000. For real estate, similarly, with $1 million, all right, you actually only need to pay $250,000 as down payment. 75% would be the loan. So after 3 years, your property price increases 10%, which means your property price becomes 1.1 million, profit of 100,000. So both ways, same amount of profit. However, because stocks, you have a very high initial investment of 1 million. For real estate, you have an initial investment of only $250,000. But the profit you made for both cases is $100,000. Your ROI for stocks is 10%. But your ROI for real estate is 40%. You actually earn 4 times more due to the leveraging. So we're going to look at the two different types of passive income, which is dividends and rental, which I think a lot of people invest for passive income. So which is better? Let's take a look. So dividends and rental yield. Dividends is paid on a quarterly basis. Rental is paid on a monthly basis. So if you're someone who prefers recurring income more frequently, then maybe rental would be better. Dividends is actually determined mainly by the company's earnings. Okay, so how well a company does determines how much dividends they are willing to pay. Rental, however, is determined by the supply and demand. Okay, so it may be easier to determine the rental gameplay. All right, dividends is very hard to control the number of company earnings that you have. So dividends as well, it might be reduced during bad times. For example, during a recession, all right, if the company doesn't do well, then its earnings will drop, its dividends will also drop. But for rental, it's slightly different. In fact, rental might actually benefit during bad times for residential properties, because during a recession, although it's very sad, a lot of people lose their jobs, they might have to sell their homes, but they still need a roof over their heads, which means the chance of rental demand actually increasing is higher, which causes price to also increase. And dividends, there are uncertainty in the number of payments as well, because the company can decide when or not they want to pay. However, for rental, it's different. Rental, there's certainty in the payments, okay? Because you actually make a committed legal agreement between the tenant of a duration of usually 12 to 24 months. So there is certainty that you'll be getting the rental every month. And the last factor we're going to look at is actually the safety during the crisis, because a lot of people know about the good side of the story. We need to look at the bad side. We need to look at the risk and how safe each investment is. Stocks versus real estate. So during a recession, for example, for stocks, companies can actually go bankrupt, all right? And when companies go bankrupt, their stock value becomes $0. And you might even be forced to sell during privatizations. But for real estate, it's slightly different. Real estate, because it's brick and mortar, it has value. The land it's on has value. The building itself, you sell the bricks and everything. There is certain value to it. And rental can actually be collected during a crisis, like I shared previously. Do you think during a recession when companies are suffering, do you think they have the capability to keep up with their dividend payments? Well, they may or may not, depending on the company itself. So real estate is much safer in this case, and there's also actual usability when it comes to real estate. Like I mentioned before, you can actually stay in that house itself. You can actually use, like say for example, a commercial shop that you own to run your business. So there's actual usability for real estate, unlike stocks, which is just a piece of paper. And these are some of the companies that actually went privatized. Okay, so privatization does happen. So this is the end of part 1 of this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot between the comparison of real estate and stocks. So stay tuned to part 2 where I'll actually look deeper on which will actually be better for you. Now, if you've learned something new today, do me a favor, like and share this post so others can benefit from this knowledge and information as well. My name is Ian Teo and I look forward to seeing you on my next video.